Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana. Shining is the self in all beings. By the immense grace of the self manifest as Ramana, we are commencing today's satsang with a prayer by Srimati Sapna Ganesh, followed by the chanting of Muktakatrayam by Sri Nanda Kumarji.
दक्षिणामूर्ति सारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां रमणाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय. Namo Ramana to everyone.
Ekam vaksharam rudirantaram bhasati swayam nityate katam. हृदय कुहर मध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् अहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति. विविश मनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता चलनरूढा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. देहं मृण्मयवत् जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्त्वतभावशुद्धिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भाव. ॐ भावन्तः कुतो वर्तिना दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयम्. सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विधाति स्वयं। नमो रमण।
Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang with chanting of verses from Upadesha Saram by Revathi Shankar.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Idamaham padabhikkhamanvaham ahamilinake pyalaya sattaya vigrahendriya pranadhitama nahamekasat tajjadam hyasat satvabhasika chitkvavetara sattaya hi chit chittaya hyaham ईशजीवयोर्वेषधीभिदा सत्स्वभावतो वस्तु केवलं वेषहानतः स्वात्मदर्शनम् ईशदर्शनं स्वात्मरूपतः आत्मसंस्थितिः स्वात्मदर्शनम् आत्मनिर्द्वयादात्मनिष्ठता ज्ञानवर्जिता अज्ञानहीनचित् ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरं किं स्वरूपम् इत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भवा आपूर्णचित्सुखं बन्धमुक्त्यतीतं परं सुखं विन्दतीह जीवस्तु दैविकः अहमपेतकं निजविभानकं महदिदं तपो रमणवागियम्. नमो रमण.
Namo Ramana. We continue with the offering of Ramananjali Sangeetam. First, we will have Srimati Radha accompanied by Vallabh, and this will be followed by an offering from Srimati Pratibha Sundaresh.
Namo Ramana to all. Today we have selected a song written by Sri Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, and we have taken a Telugu translation. The translation is by Sri J.H. Bhimacharya, and the music is by Sri Vijay Bhaskar. నీవే తల్లి తండ్రివి, నీవే గురువు దైవము, నీవే తల్లి తండ్రివి, నీవే గురువు దైవము. ఓ అరుణాచల ఓ పరశివుడ వందనమయ్యా వందనము. ఓ అరుణాచల ఓ పరశివుడ వందనమయ్యా వందనము. నీవే తల్లి తండ్రివి, నీవే గురువు దైవము. జగన్మాయ పూజల నిధిలోన మునిగి పోక ముందే వచ్చితివి, జగన్మాయ పూజల నిధిలోన మునిగి పోక ముందే వచ్చితివి. రక్షణ చేసి సుపతము చేచే జ్ఞానపు జ్యోతివి తెచ్చితివి, రక్షణ చేసి సుపతము చేచే జ్ఞానపు జ్యోతివి తెచ్చితివి. నీవే తల్లి తండ్రివి, నీవే గురువు దైవము. నీ ధరి నిల్చితి నిర్మలాత్మ, నీ దయ కలుక నిత్య ప్రశాంతి. నీ ధరి నిల్చితి నిర్మలాత్మ, నీ దయ కలుక నిత్య ప్రశాంతి. నీ శుభనామము ఆనందమయ అరుణాచలమే భద్రము దేవా నీ శుభనామము ఆనందమయ్యా అరుణాచలమే భద్రము దేవా నీవే తల్లి తండ్రివి నీవే గురువు దైవము ఓ అరుణాచల ఓ పరశివుడ వందనమయ్యా వందనము నీవే తల్లి తండ్రివి నీవే గురువు దైవము ఓ అరుణాచల ఓ పరశివుడ వందనమయ్యా వందనము వందనమయ్యా వందనము వందనమయ్యా వందనము నమో రమణ.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. This particular composition is a Kannada translation of Sri Sadhu Om by Sri R.N. Jai Gopal, and music is by V.S. Narasimhan. And Sulochana Mami has sung this so beautifully, and it's my humble attempt to sing this today. The lyrics of this song is one of my top favorites. Bhagavan has said, if Loka Vichara creeps in, Atma Vichara goes out. This message is so very well reflected in the lyrics of this song. And for those who don't know Kannada, just a gist of this. The poet here says, if you want to see Bhagwan Ramana or listen to his voice or touch him, let your mind not see or hear or touch anything else. Let none other than Bhagwan see or listen to you or touch you. If you want to have Ramananubhava, the true experience of Bhagwan Ramana, let your mind remain ever still and reverberate Ramana's Nama and nothing else. ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ದೇವನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರಾರು ನಿನ್ನ ಕಾಣದಿರಲಯ್ಯ ಆ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ದೇವನ ವಾಣಿ ನೀ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಕೇಳದಿರು ದೇವನ ವಾಣಿ ನೀ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಕೇಳದಿರು ದೇವನು ನಿನ್ನ ಮೋರೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದರೆ ದೇವನು ನಿನ್ನ ಮೋರೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರಾರು ನಿನ್ನ ಮೋರೆ ಕೇಳದಿರಲಯ್ಯ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ದೇವನ ನೀನು ಮುಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಮುಟ್ಟದಿರು ದೇವನ ನೀನು ಮುಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೇನನು ನೀ ಮುಟ್ಟದಿರು ದೇವನು ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದರೆ ದೇವನು ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರಾವುದು ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟದಿರಲಯ್ಯ ಹೋಗದಿರಲಯ್ಯ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ರಮಣಾನುಭವ ನೀ ಅರಿಯಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರಾರಲು ನಿನ್ನ ಮನ ಹೋಗದಿರಲಿ ರಮಣಾನುಭವ ನೀ ಅರಿಯಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರಾರಲು ನಿನ್ನ ಮನ ಹೋಗದಿರಲಿ ರಮಣನ ಓಲುಮೆ ದೊರೆಯಬೇಕಾದರೆ ರಮಣನ ಓಲುಮೆ ದೊರೆಯಬೇಕಾದರೆ ರಮಣ ಗೀತೆ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಡಿದಿರಲಿ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ದೇವನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರಾರು ನಿನ್ನ ಕಾಣದಿರಲಯ್ಯ ಆ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವನ ನೀ ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಬೇರೆ ನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ಬೇರೆ ನನು ನೀ ಕಾಣದಿರು ನಮೋ ರಮ
To see Ramana in all and all in Ramana is what Sadhu Swami is guiding us to do. And let us continue to meditate upon Ramana through the Ramananjali Sangeetam. The next two songs offered, one by Savitri Krishnan and Jai Shri Ram Krishna, and the second one by Revathi Shankar.
अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल मनदली निन्ननु ನೆನೆವರ ಅಮ್ಮನು ಪರಿಹರಿಸುವೆ ನೀ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅಳಗ ಸುಂದರರ ತೆರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬೆರೆಯಬಲ್ಲವೇ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಒಲಿಸಿದ ನನ್ನನು ತೊರೆದರೆ ನಿನ್ನನು ತೆಗಳದೆ ಲೋಕ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಲೋಕವ ಬೆಳಗುವ ರವಿಯೇ ನನ್ನೆದೆ ಕಮಲವಾರಳಿಸುವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ವಸನ ಸರಿಸಿ ದಿಗಂಬರನಾಗಿಸಿ ಕೃಪೆಯನ್ನು ಬೋಧಿಸೋ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಲೆನ್ನನು ಆಲಂಗಿಸದಿರೆ ಕಳೆದಂತೇನ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಗಾಳಿಯಲೆಯುವ ಧೂಳಿಯೆನ್ನಿಸ ಸದೆ ಕಾಯೋ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಲಿ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ನಾಸಿಕಹೀನಗೆ ತೋರುವ ಕನ್ನಡಿಯಾಗದೆ ಪಾಲಿಸೋ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ನಿನ್ನ ಕರೆಗೆ ನಾ ಬಂದೆನೋ ಸಲಹುವ ಹೊಣೆ ನಿನ್ನದೆ ದೊರೆ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ನನ್ನಂತಹ ಅಸಹಾಯಕ ದೀನರ ಮನ್ನಿಸು ಸಂತತ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಪಡನುಡಿಗಳನಿ ಸಹಿಸಿ ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸು ಸಹನಾಚಲನಿ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಈ ಶ್ರೀಮಾಲಯ ತೊಡಿಸುವೆ ನಿಶ್ಚಲ ಈ ಶ್ರೀಮಾಲಯ ತೊಡಿಸುವೆ ನಿಶ್ಚಲ ಭಕ್ತಿಯ ನೀಡೈ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಶಿವ ಅರುಣಾಚಲ ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀ
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. We are meditating on the 41st verse of Satdarshanam. Satdarshanam Dravidavang Nibaddham Maharshina Sri Ramanena Shuddham Prabandhamutkrishtamamartyavanyam Manudhyavasishtamunirvyathanit. Maharshi Ramana has composed this pure work, Satdarshanam, in Tamil. This sacred and uplifting scripture has been rendered into Sanskrit by Vasishta Ganapati Muni, is what is the meaning of this verse. Muni in this verse praises this work of Bhagavan Satdarshanam. He says, this scripture is divine and uplifting. Bhagavan has come into each one of our lives only to lift us all up to his state. When he has come into our lives, he makes us see him in everything. He makes us see him everywhere, like how Pratibhaka said. He is there everywhere. It is we who have to see him. It is we who have to hear to him. He fills himself in every object and non-object too. Muni in this song says this with a prayer to uplift Muni to the state of Ramana. This is a song by Vasishta Ganapati Muni, Kannada translation by Dr. N.S. Lakshminarayana Bhatta, music by H.K. Narayana. I can say this is one of the favorite songs of all the students of RMCL. ಅರುಣಾಚಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವತರಿಸಿದವರ ಕರುಣಾನಿಲಯನ ಹಾಡುವೆನು, ಮರುಳು ಮಾನವನ ಮುಸುಕಿದ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಇರುಳ ಕಳೆ ಎಂದು ಬೇಡುವೆನು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವತರಿಸಿದವರ ಕರುಣಾನಿಲಯನ ಹಾಡುವೆನು, ಮರುಳು ಮಾನವನ ಮುಸುಕಿದ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಇರುಳ ಕಳೆ ಎಂದು ಬೇಡುವೆನು. ಅರುಣಾಚಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವತರಿಸಿದವರ ಕರುಣಾನಿಲಯನ ಹಾಡುವೆನು. ನಲಿಯುತ್ತ ಸಾಗುವ ನಿರ್ಮಲ ನದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ ಪಾವನತೆ ಫಲಿಸಿಹುದೋ, ಉಲಿಯುವ ಹಕ್ಕಿಯ ಉದಾರ ದನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ ಮಧುಕಂಠ ಸುಳಿಯುವುದೋ. ಅರಳಿದ ಮಾವಿನ ಅನಂತ ಸಿರಿಯಲಿ ಯಾರ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಮೆರೆಯುವುದೋ ಆತ್ಮರೂಪಿಯ ರಮಣನ ವೈಭವ. ಆತ್ಮರೂಪಿಯ ರಮಣನ ವೈಭವ ತೋರುವ ರೀತಿಗೆ ಕೊನೆಯುವುದೋ, ತೋರುವ ರೀತಿಗೆ ಕೊನೆಯುವುದೋ, ತೋರುವ ರೀತಿಗೆ ಕೊನೆಯುವುದೋ. ಅರುಣಾಚಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವತರಿಸಿದವರ ಕರುಣಾನಿಲಯನ ಹಾಡುವೆನು. ಯೋಗ ಜೀವನದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶಿಖರಗಳ ಏರಿ ಪೂರ್ಣತೆಯ ಪಡೆದವನೇ, ಏರಿ ಪೂರ್ಣತೆಯ ಪಡೆದವನೇ. ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನೆನ್ನುವ ಭಾವವ ಚರಾಚರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಳಿದವನೇ, ಚರಾಚರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಳಿದವನೇ. ರಾಗರಾಜ್ಯಗಳ ಜಯಿಸಿ ಸಮನಿರದ ವಿರಾಗಿ ಎನಿಸಿದ ಮುನಿವರನೇ, ವಿರಾಗಿ ಎನಿಸಿದ ಮುನಿವರನೇ. ಸೋಜಿನ ಬಾಳಿಗೆ ಸೋತ ದೀನನ, ಸೋಜಿನ ಬಾಳಿಗೆ ಸೋತ ದೀನನ. ಎತ್ತಿಕೊ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನ್ನೊಡನೆ, ಎತ್ತಿಕೊ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನ್ನೊಡನೆ, ಎತ್ತಿಕೊ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನ್ನೊಡನೆ, ಎತ್ತಿಕೊ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನ್ನೊಡನೆ. ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the reading and the sharing by Nanda Kumar.
Namo Ramana. In this the book reading segment of our Satsangh, we continue to read from Fresh Discoveries, Western Seekers on Sri Ramana Maharshi, a compilation by our founder president Sri A.R. Natarajanji. You may recall that we are reading the final contribution to this book from Master Nome. It is entitled as Timeless Presence, and I read the last paragraph of last week's reading and then continue onward with the contribution by Master Nome. Wherever and whenever we are, bliss is with us, bliss is in us, and bliss can no more be parted from us than we can be separated from our own existence. The joy of absorption of his teaching and absorption in its profound meaning far surpasses the fulfillment of any desire, even all of them put together. He has revealed bliss, and with a happy heart, all is at peace. We continue. The entire delusion is said to be the outward turned mind. The outward turned mind appears as attachments and misidentifications. The outward tendency has the force of a torrent, but what motivates it? What gives it that force? And how to turn it inward, and to turn it inward steadily? Sri Bhagavan revealed the answers in a way that could leave no doubt or difficulty. Indeed, what is unknown to him, the Supreme Rishi, the one who truly knows Brahman, for he is Brahman itself? Nothing is unseen by his all-seeing eye. The outwardness is the search for happiness when its abiding place is not known. Further, outwardness is the false belief that the mind's own projections projected into itself are real. Finally, outwardness is the wrong notion that there is such a thing as the mind. The Maharishi clearly revealed that since happiness is the self, The search for happiness is really search for the self, which is the reality. The Maharishi clearly revealed that since happiness is the self, the search for happiness is really the search for the self, which is reality. Happiness, reality, and the self are one and the same. When this is known by consistent meditation on what he reveals, even in a moment, outwardness dissolves and the torrent of such tendencies evaporates. What is the time taken for outwardness to dissolve? Even in a moment, says the writer. When this is known by consistent meditation on what he reveals, even in a moment, outwardness dissolves and the torrent of such tendencies evaporates. It seemed as if the mind went outward, but actually it was only the mind projecting itself into itself. For the whole world is only in the mind and nowhere else. It seemed as if turning inward was like moving mountain. It seemed as if turning inward was like moving a mountain. But he accomplishes the impossible and enables the disciple to find it to be natural. Turning inward. Turning inward, it is essential. It is the most important thing to be done. By His grace, it is accomplished. Self-effort is needed. When self-effort meets with grace, the highest good results. Turning inward, how to go outward is forgotten. Accustomed to detachment, one forgets how to be attached. Immersed in happiness, how to be sad becomes a lost art, and one cannot do so even in pretense. There is the recollection that once there was suffering, but no actual memory or feeling of suffering itself. Where did the bondage go? I had been tied without a rope. The solidity of the outward turned mind was but imagination. Now, by truth and grace of my Guru, imagination proves causeless and rootless, and the mind returns to its source, like the bird to the boat in a vast ocean, or like a river when it joins the ocean. Who am I becomes known as the only true question, and the yearn for blissful ego death is here and now. Now, by the truth and grace of my Guru, imagination proves causeless and rootless, and the mind returns to its source, like the bird to the boat in a vast ocean, or like a river when it joins the ocean. Who am I becomes known as the only true question, and the yearn for blissful ego death is here and now. Bodiless he is, and bodiless he makes us to abide. In some mysterious and inexplicable way, his picture reveals this with its timeless Dakshinamurti gaze, just as he explains this with words brimming with compassion again and again to the disciples and the devotees, page after page, day after day. The day the pictures first arrived from Sri Ramanashramam so many years ago was filled with a profound joy. It was the joy of devotion. It was the joy of faith, of being blessed with the guiding light, of divine support. In short, it is the joy of having the Guru's presence. There had been no pictures of any kind, spiritual or artistic, anywhere in the place for months. Just blank walls, like a mind that is a clean slate, were there, preparing as it were for his arrival. Then they arrived from his holy ashram on the other side of the world, beckoning me to leave the world altogether. The whole place felt sanctified thereby. The walls and the altar table seemed to support the pictures, but really it was Sri Bhagavan who was supporting them, and all else as well. The whole place was sanctified thereby, The walls and the altar table seemed to support the pictures, but really it was Sri Bhagavan who was supporting them and all else as well. If one is going to see anything at all, it should be the divine face of the Maharishi. If one is going to see anything at all, it should be the divine face of the Maharishi. Silent, it speaks all that need be said to the heart. Like his teaching, his picture is of perpetual fascination. When I first started to read a book containing his sacred utterances, I had proceeded only about 2 or 3 pages. Before I realized that, though in one sense I had understood, I had not truly understood. When I first started to read a book containing his sacred utterances, I had only proceeded about 2 or 3 pages before I realized that, though in one sense I had understood, I had not truly understood. So I started from the beginning again. This happened several times. Eventually, I realized it was all right to proceed further into the book, but the lesson had been learned. This was not mere inspirational reading, even of a scripture declaring ultimate truth. This was a means of darshan, and if I could really experientially comprehend even a phrase of it, the truth will be revealed and all that is to be known would be known. I'll read that again. This was not mere inspirational reading, even of a scripture declaring ultimate truth. This was a means of darshan, and if I could really experientially comprehend even a single phrase of it, the truth would be revealed and all that is to be known would be known. The perpetual fascination still remains. It will always remain. Ever new, ever the same are his wisdom and his timeless presence. You are not the body. How could a transitory, objective, sporadically appearing inert form, experienced only in the waking state of mind by dependence on senses, prana, mind and ego, be real, continuous, non-objective existence, which is evident without recourse to anything else, and is always present, regardless of the states of the body and the mind? How could a transitory, objective, sporadically appearing inert form experienced only in the waking state of mind by dependence on the senses, prana and mind and ego be real, be my real, continuous, non-objective existence, which is evident without recourse to anything else and is always present regardless of the state of body and mind? How could that which was already being experienced have remained as if unknown or unrecognized? In delusion, the real is as if unreal or unknown, and the unreal seems as if real. But Bhagavan, the divine Guru, reveals himself, and the unreal vanishes as unreal, and thus the reality remains unobscured. The body was afflicted by asthma. He is going to reveal a personal connection with his sadhana. The body was afflicted by asthma. At night, I did not know if the next breath would come. The medicines did not work, and the side effects of those medicines available at that time would be as lethal as the disease itself. It was also obvious that life is short and fleeting, and that death comes quickly and unexpectedly. It was doubtful that the bodily life would survive to adulthood, and the physicians yielded to their despair. At the time, it seemed as if I were left with a choice. On the one hand, I could pursue a search for some kind of cure, which would hopefully be found somewhere. If a cure were found, life might be extended so that spiritual practice could continue. If the attempt failed, the remaining moments would have been wasted, the life lived in vain, and the only vow I took, the only one Bhagavan demanded, the vow of liberation, moksha, would be left unfulfilled. On the other hand, the other choice, I could stay put and pursue spiritual practice as he revealed it with all the energy I could muster and adhere to the truth of the bodiless self with full conviction and perseverance, come what may, regardless of the risk. I felt inside myself, if I do not fully awaken to the truth, I will live and die in an unreal dream. If I practice right through the last breath, it will be all worth it. It will all be worth it. And if the truth is realized even in the last moment, the liberation from samsara, birth and death, will be for all eternity. I will reread how he chooses the option. If I do not fully awaken to the truth, I will live and die in an unreal dream anyway. If I practice right through to the last breath, it will all be worth it. And if the truth is realized even at the last moment, the liberation from samsara, birth and death, will be for all eternity. I placed myself in his hands. When the heart's consecration is made, grace, which is always present, reveals itself wondrously. The intensity yielded and yearned for freedom. The intensity yielded the yearn for freedom. And miraculously his grace made known to me a complete cure for the supposedly incurable disease. He is the immaculately perfect one, the all-knowing one, the ever-same one, the all-illuminating one, and the all-accomplishing one. Birth, growth, decay, death, pleasure and pains, actions and the results, environments and appearances, all of it is just for the body. The truth revealed by the Maharishi cuts the knot that seems to tie our true being with a bodily form. What a relief! What freedom! All concerns centered around the body had been to no purpose and had been groundless. Illness and pain were no more afflictions. The inert body can move all day, yet stillness prevails, and I never do anything. And the fear of death was gone by his immortality revealing truth and his bliss bestowing grace. I'll read that again. Birth, growth, decay, death, pleasure and pains, actions and the results, environments and appearances, all of it is just for the body. The truth revealed by the Maharishi cuts the knot that seems to tie our true being with a bodily form. What a relief! What freedom! All the concerns centered around the body had been to no purpose and had been groundless. Illness and pain were no more afflictions. The inert body can move all day, yet stillness prevails, and I never do anything. And the fear of death was gone by his immortality revealing truth and his bliss bestowing grace. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Having meditated on Ramana as the self through Master Nomi's words, let us continue through the practice of self-inquiry, which will be guided by Dilip Sena.
Namo Ramana. Dhyayet Sharada Chandra Sundara Mukam Tamrada Vindekshanam Bhakta Bhishthavara Bhaya Pradakaram Kaupina Matrojvalam Svatmanandarasanubhuti Vivasham Sarvanavadyangakham Shrimantam Shri Ramaneshwaram Guruvaram Yogasanadhyasitam Dhyayet Shri Ramaneshwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramaneshwaram Dhyayet बुद्धे केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामज्जतव पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. Namo Ramana. We will commence today's evening Atma Vichara by listening to Bhagavan's Upadesham. As usual, on Saturday I read from Guru Vachaka Kovai, and today from the chapter Meditation on the Truth, Bhagavan has blessed the topic of samsara. Verse 613. The veiled mind that takes the form of remembering and forgetting is indeed the samsara, that is respectively birth and death. The aham, I, in which the activity of remembering and forgetting has died, is truly the authentic liberation, that is devoid of the pramada that leads to birth and death. I repeat, the veiled mind that takes the form of remembering and forgetting is indeed the samsara, that is respectively birth and death. The aham, in which the activity of remembering and forgetting has died, is truly the authentic liberation, that is devoid of the pramada that leads to birth and death. Often we take this question, who am I, as something that we need to know, something we need to answer. And often we find that by reading a scripture or by listening to someone that we have found the answer, and yet we forget it. So we don't see that we are trying to know, holding on to this individual identity. It is that this Dilip who wants to know, who wants to remember, and we soon realize that it is him who forgets, and therefore there is this pain of the forgetfulness. And that is the samsara that we are constantly indulging. And every time we rise as an individual to remember, or as an individual that we recollect that we have forgotten, it is nothing but a birth. It is the birth of the division, the individual identity from the one truth which is present. And obviously when we are born, we are going to experience the death also. So if you remember, we are also going to forget. This, therefore, Bhagavan is asking us to really inquire, who am I, where there is no activity of remembering or forgetting, or this entire concept that there is something to remember, something to forget, is truly, we die to it, we let go it, we transcend it and hold to that truth to whom all of this appears, which alone is that being consciousness. When we do that, and we simply abide in that being consciousness as the being consciousness, that is the authentic liberation, says Bhagavan, that is devoid of the pramada. It is free of the error, the primary mistake that we think apart from that being consciousness, there is this mind, this intellect, this individual who can know and who can remember and who can forget. We rise, we give reality to this pramada, to this individual. Rather, if we were to inquire truly who am I and see the source of that I, or what we really refer to as I, we see ourselves as the unchanging being consciousness, fully free of all thoughts, all imagination, and free of all the birth and death and all that we have seen as samsara. We are free of it here and now. And to remain abiding in that one truth, that is the true authentic liberation, says Bhagavan in this verse. And to do that, to act, since that truth alone is this pramada which comes in the form of a thought, is the only thing that we need to transcend. Therefore, Bhagavan has given us this Atma Vichara, that whenever there is a thought, and no matter what kind of a thought it is, whether it is good, bad, or ugly, we need not have to go and we need not even worry how many thoughts rise. We should diligently inquire to whom is this thought. And when we question that, we see that it is for me, that individual. And therefore, when we really question what is the real source of this I, what do I really refer to as I, or where from this I thought rises within me, when we seek the real source of it, then we reach that one truth, which alone is, and there is no division in it, no movement in it, nothing to remember, nothing to forget. And that is how we transcend this entire samsara and abide in that one truth. This, who am I, is, as Akka reads from Gita, it is the upasana. That is, it makes us abide in the self. It is not actually a practice. Atma Vichara is actually making us abide in that truth. By repeated practice, Bhagavan assures that we become very clear about the truth and abide in it effortlessly. The immense grace of Bhagavan, with which alone we could have come to this direct path. Let us do Atma Vichara for the next 10 minutes. Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We go on to the sharing based on Hastamalaka Shrotra by Sri Venkatesh Deshpande.
Dakshinamurti Sarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Ramanacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavan Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhasha Kratau Vande Bhagavantau Punaha Punaha. Oh. We're doing Manana on Hastamalaka. So as we've seen, we've come to the verse number 4. We found that Shankaracharya asked Hastamalaka some very deep questions, and these are typical questions that we need to ask ourselves also. O child, who are you? Whom do you belong to? Where are you going or heading? What is your name? From where have you come? These are the questions that Shankaracharya asked Hastamalaka. Hastamalaka obviously has replied to these various these questions, but the important thing is finally what he wants is Shankaracharya wanted him to bring out the truth from him, his real experience, which was Drida Aproksha Jnanam, direct knowledge, which is doubtless. So the little boy of 7 was in firm abidance. So Shankaracharya wanted to bring that out, and that was the reason that he asked these questions. So we saw in the last verse, there were some indicators that were there of this. One was, it was asangatvam. Asangatvam means it is unattached. This consciousness is unattached. Second one was shuddhatvam. Shuddhatvam means it is pure, nature of purity. The third one is vyaptakatvam. It was all pervasive. It is all pervasive. So these are 3 things that had come out in the third verse. But there were another doubt that could clear up. Why can't we accept that the organs of perception and action are capable of working on their own? This is a typical question that could come up, and doubt that could come up. Why is prompting from the Atman to be assumed? So with the grace of Acharya Hastamalaka, continues further with this narration. So the question was, the doubt that could come up now is, why can't we accept that the organs of perception and action are capable of working on their own? Why can't the eyes see? Why can't the mouth speak? Why can't it all happen by itself? Why do they need anything? Why is prompting from the Atman to be assumed? With the grace of Acharya, we continue with the verse number 4. I request Sapna to kindly chant the verse, please.
Yes, sir. यमग्न्युष्णवनित्यबोधस्वरूपं मनश्चक्षुरादीन्यबोधात्मकानि प्रवर्तन्ताश्रित्य निष्कम्पमेकं स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा यमग्न्युष्णवनित्यबोधस्वरूपं मनश्चक्षुरादीन्यबोधात्मकानि प्रवर्तन्ताश्रित्य निष्कम्पमेकं स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sapna. As heat is the nature of fire, the one whose nature is eternal knowledge, motionless, depending on whom inert mind, eyes, and so on become active, I am of the nature of that ever-existing Atman. The translation is, as heat is the nature of fire, the one whose nature is eternal knowledge, motionless, depending upon whom inert mind, eyes, and so on become active, I am of the nature of that ever-existing Atman. Inert mind, eyes, and so on, depending upon whom become active. So, for example, an iron ball, when kept for a fairly long time in fire, starts glowing and becomes hot. An ignorant person considers it to be a mere ball of fire. The fact is that the iron itself is dark and cold by nature, but in association with fire, it picks up the qualities of fire like heat and brilliance. Similarly, the instruments of the body, though themselves inert, when in contact with consciousness, appear active. This is the important word here is appear. It's just an appearance. So similarly, the instruments of the body, though themselves inert, when in contact with consciousness, appear active. The indriyas cannot function separately from consciousness. Their actions are as inseparable from the self as the flame is from the lamp, and as the waves are from the water. The indriyas come to function in the light of the chit. Motionless and the one. Indriyas are many and different from each other, but the consciousness which illumines and activates them is one and the same. Consciousness does not undergo any change, even when the indriyas undergo different experiences and actions. This is made very clear in the following simile. Just as fire, being subtler than the iron, does not get affected by the qualities of iron, so also the Atman does not get conditioned by the indriyas. The indriyas are bound by fruits of action, but the self is not. In the beating of a red hot ball, the iron suffers and changes its shape, but the fire remains unaffected. The Atman is beyond joys and sorrows, but the indriyas are affected by them. Actually, the indriyas are inert, so they themselves experience nothing. It is the mind which, with the reflection of the consciousness in it, Chidabhasa, comes to experience the pleasure and pain of being associated with the indriyas. Atman remains unaffected. So this is a beautiful thing. Actually, indriyas also are inert. So they themselves experience nothing. It is the mind with which the reflection, with the reflection of the consciousness in it, comes to experience the pleasure and pain. Iron cannot be molded into the shape of a ball without being brought in contact with fire. It is through contact with fire that the iron acquires a shape, but in no way is the fire responsible for the change. The Atman lends its vitality to instruments which act in the world, yet the Atman does not become the doer or the enjoyer. Whose nature is eternal knowledge, as in the nature of fire, to be hot. Just as heat is the nature of fire, so is knowledge the nature of the Atman. In the light of Atman, there is no ignorance. A man of knowledge considers this play of senses as illusory as a dream. He does not perceive the sense organs as they really are. A dream appears to be true till one wakes up, but the ignorant perceives only the world of names and forms and considers it to be the ultimate truth, forgetting the omnipresence and Satchid Ananda nature of the self. This is made clear with another example. A wife sleeping near her husband dreams that she has become a widow. Even after waking up in continuation of the dream, she bursts into tears. Her husband asks her the reason for her crying, and to her living husband she says that she has become a widow. This is due to her ignorance of the waking world when she was in the dream. Men of realization are not deluded by the world projected by the mind and always keep themselves awakened to the vision of the omnipresent self. In that state, the world projected by the mind appears to be a mirage. It is meaningless to worry about a non-existent mirage of water getting dried up or clogged or flooded. Bhagavan says that it is important that this for the jnani, for the person who sees the truth, it is like a mirage. So when you're traveling for example, if you're traveling in the desert on a camel and you see a mirage, will you think there's water? No. But if first time you're going on a camel in the desert, you will think, oh, there's water that's going to come. You will tell the camel man, hey, there's water coming up. But what the camel man will know, he'll know that's not water, it's just a mirage, it's just an appearance. So he says that meaningless to worry about non-existent mirage of water getting dried up or clogged or flooded. In such fulfillment, there is neither increase, decrease, nor gain and loss. It is a state of spiritual awakening in which there is no duality or pair of opposites like knowledge, ignorance, me, you, higher, lower, and so on. In the state of reality, there is no relativity. I am the nature of that ever-existing Atman. This is what Hastamalaka is saying. Hastamalaka asserts that perfect being I am, the Satchidananda Ananda, the existence, knowledge, bliss. So, but there may be a further doubt. If the same Atma is present in all, this is the next question which we will do manana on the following week. If the same Atma is in all, why then one is happy and the other is not? So if the same Atma is in all bodies, then why is somebody happy and one is not? Hastamalaka will clarify it in the next verse. So it's a beautiful few verses that the Hastamalaka has told us for us. Basically the same thing that everybody says is that we are that. Basically, the important thing is instead of doing something, it's important for us to be. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Thank you.
Namo Ramana. To be is what Bhagavan leads us to in every word of his, in all his teachings. And here we had with Venkatesh Deshpandeji, one of the translations from Adi Shankara Bhagavan. And further, we have from Bhagavan his transcreation of a scripture from the Agamas, Devi Kaluttara, Jnana Vichara Padala, which will be gone into by Dr. Kadarani Rangaswamy.
You are on mute, Akka.
She's now, when she goes unmute also we can't hear her. You have to exit once and come back. Revathi, can you message her that we will go after Ujjwal? We will take Ujjwal right now. Ujjwal? Are you ready to go? Okay. Namo Ramana. As we wait for Dr. Kalarani, we will have a slight interchange today. So I seek Dr. Kalarani entry.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Okay. With the abundance grace of Ramana, we are meditating on Devi Kalotra Jnana Vichara Padalam, graciously given to us by Bhagavan. In the last satsang we saw Advaidamahi Arivodi Mathiramai Etum. Seeing everything as two, double, brings us sorrow and at times happiness. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. Then the thought comes, whatever I am saying is right and whatever the other person is saying is wrong. And sometimes we say this is dharma, this is adharma. One may view a happening according to dharma and it may be seen as adharma by some other person. I'll tell you a small example. Once a great king arranged for annadana, poor feeding, for pandits, and cooking was going on in a vast open ground. And at that time, what happened? A giant eagle was flying over the ground holding the neck of a snake. When they crossed the cooking place, and because the eagle was holding the neck of the snake so tightly, the poison gushed out of the snake's mouth and fell into the big cooking vessel. No one noticed it. Food was served, and who all ate the food died. Now, the Dharma Devata and Chitragupta got greatly confused on whom should this sin be fixed. Is it on the king who arranged for the Annadanam, No, it cannot be, because he was not seen at the scene at all. So maybe the snake, that is also not dharma, because the snake was in the clutches of the eagle. So snake could not have done anything of its own accord. Then the eagle, how can the eagle be the sinner? Eagle was just carrying his food. Then the sinner must be the cook. No, he is also not the sinner, because he was cooking on the ground, and this is something which happened in the sky. He might not have looked up. So the cook is also not the sinner. Dharmadevata and Chitragupta got greatly confused. Dharmadevata and Chitragupta, they said, and they both decided to wait for a few more days. After a week's time, two pandits from a nearby village came there, and they heard that the king of this land was serving food for pandits, and they were searching, and they were hungry also. So they were searching where the Annadanam is going on. An old lady was sitting on the roadside and was selling tidbits. They both asked that lady about the place where Annadanam was given. She should have shown the way and kept quiet. But what she said was, "Oh, that Annadanam, why do you go there? There the king is killing the pandits by poisoning the food." As if she saw poisoning the food to be served by the pandit. Then Dharmadevata and Chitragupta smiled at each other and fixed the sin on that old lady account. So if we go into the dharma, also we will be caught in Sukha Dukkha, because someone's dharma may be other one's a dharma. So anything which is two, it brings sorrow and happiness alternately. And that is why Bhagavan says, Advaidamahi, find no discrimination in this world. Find no difference between the worldly objects. Why? Because when one starts finding difference between good, bad, good object, bad object, then they will be caught in a thought, I will only get good objects. So again, an object which is good for me may not be good for the other person, it may be bad for that person. Then I start searching for the object which I think is good for me, and in that process, I have to face lot of hardships. That is why Bhagavan says, consider everything as equal, every happening as equal, so that there will always be happiness alone. Bhagavan lived as an example for treating everything as equal. The way he ate food itself would show this. Variety of food would be served in a plantain leaf. Kuttu, poriyal, pachadi will be kept separately. But Bhagavan would mix up everything, but he would mix it very neatly. He will take time to mix them well, because whatever work Bhagavan did, he did it with great concentration on that. And likewise, he used to mix them all well and gulp it. Devotees would ask Bhagavan, we prepared different items, different variety of food, and Bhagavan is not taking them separately. You are not tasting it. And Bhagavan said, why should there be diversity in food? Let us show unity at least in food. By showing us do not find any difference between the worldly objects. That is why Advaidamahi. There need to be no Dvaita. When would be a person find no difference between the objects? Only when he sees Brahman in all these different objects. When he sees Brahman in all, he finds no two things. He will not find them as good or bad. He won't be seeing difference between dharma and adharma, but as conscious only. In that state, there will not be any separate entity that sees God differently. In that state, there will be no thought of attaining God, because he would realize there is no difference between them both. So Bhagavan says one has to attain that knowledge of Advaita. Advaitamahi arivori matiramai. That very knowledge which shows no difference. And that is the one the sadhana, the sadhaka has to attain. When one does not see anyone other than himself, there is no difference at all. Ennuriyavum iraivuruvaamena enni valipadal undipara. There is nothing other than the self. Only that jnana prakasham will prevail in that state. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We continue the satsang with the sharing by Ujjwal Jagdish on Ramanacentre Bengaluru.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Ekam Vaktramupanka-Vasavirah Panau Nashakyayudam Martyatvam Napasakini Cha Pritana Pashvadvayena Kinam Veshalam Punaresha Mugdanayana Prachadane Pujusham Antardhyanamupaiti Tarakaripo Sanyadayadataha Ramanaya Lokagurave Namaha Ramanaya Lokagurave Namaha Ekam Vaktramupanka Vasaviraha Panau Nashakyayudam Unde Mukadharisi Ume Madila Sarisi Karadim Shakyayudavatorede Martyatvam Napasakini Cha Pritana Pashvadvayena Kinam Martyanagi Dvaja Hidida Devasenaya Pashvadim Mareside Veshalam Punaresha Mugdanayana Prachadane Bujusham Vesha Harisu Saku Mugda Janara Maralu Golisidi Nalide Antardhyanamupayishi Tarakaripo Kvastanyadayadataha Maresalu Sadhyave Tarakaripuve Ninna Sodaraninda. Ganapati Muni, in this verse of Ramana Chatvarimshat, in the last Chatvarimshat, he was asking the question, "Oh Ramana, why have you come here to Arunachala? You don't have any comforts that you enjoyed when you were in Kailasa. There was no your peacock Raja who could take you from different places. There is no that Ganga, divine Ganga, which you can bathe in the cool waters. Here you don't have that Sanyamrita, the Amrita, that milk Amrita that is given by Uma. That is also not here. And here you don't even have your friends, the Pramateshwara of your own age, who could play Veena and you were enjoying that Veena. None of those comforts are there here at Arunachala. Why are you here? Was the question that he asked in the last verse. Now he has realized, he got the answer that Ramana has come here to stay. But when he is staying here, he is not staying here as that Kartikeya, that Subramanya that he knew from the time of his original place at Kailasa. He has changed his form. He has come in a disguise. He who's supposed to have 6 faces, now he is hiding all those 6 faces, and he's all fully available with one face. And he has left that loving lap of Uma, and he has come to Arunachala, separated from that Uma, and he has come to Arunachala. And he is not even having this Shakyayuda, that Ayuda, which killed the great Rakshasas, including this Tarakasura, which is mentioned in this stanza. That Shakyayuda is also missing. And he has come as a mortal. He is the immortal Deva, Subramanya he is. But he has come as a mortal, just like a normal human being he has come. And he is not leading his Devasena, the army of celestials who follow him holding the Dwaja, the Vijaya Dwaja they are holding, and they are following the Subramanya. Those Devasena, the army, is not to be found. Oh, Ramana, you are the Tarakaripu. You are the one who destroyed that Asura, Tarakasura, as the Subramanya, Kartikeya. And you may, with this disguise, you can fool the normal people, the common people of this world. But how can you hide your greatness from me? Who am I? I am Ganapati, your Sodara, your brother. And we are Dayadis of the Stanyamrita, of the mother's milk. We share the property of the mother's milk. So we both are Dayadis, we both are brothers who share the same breast milk from our mother. How can you hide this truth from me, says Ganapati Muni. Ramana, who was abiding at Arunachala as Brahmana Swami, many people were drawn to him. They were drawn to him seeing his brilliance. Nartaki Ratnama saw Ramana at the Patal Lingam, and he was covered with dirt and grime, and his nails had grown long, and his hair was matted. And even when in that condition, Nartaki Ratnama could see some divinity in him, but could not recognize what that actual divinity is. But Ganapati Muni was one such great person who, as soon as he got the first spoken Upadesha from Ramana, he realized this is not any ordinary human being. He is Bhagavan. He is that supreme power, that supreme Lord who has come in the human form just for us. The self which is dear, which is Ramana, which has incarnated as this guru in the human form, and he is the Maharshi, he is the seer among the seers, he is Maharishi, so he should be called as Bhagavan Shri Ramana Maharshi. This truth was seen by Ganapati Muni, and this he revealed to the whole world. He did the Gosha, he announced to the whole world and his students that I have found my master, and let the whole world and all of you call him Bhagavan Shri Ramana Maharshi. And we have one more instance where Ganapati Muni was in the presence of Ramana in the Virupaksha cave, and a huge bright light came from the skies, and it touched the head of Ramana 6 times. And then Ganapati Muni was surprised seeing this 6 times this light is touching. What is the significance of this event? And then he realized 6. Yes, what is 6? The 6 is the Shanmukha, the one who has 6 faces. And this, the human guru that I am seeing in front of me, is none other than Subramanya himself. So he gets an evidence for that the intuition that he had got that he is Bhagavan. He gets a firm evidence that this is none other than my own brother Subramanya. When we see the story of how Subramanya was born, we all know that he was born from the spark which came out of the Shiva's Trinetra. G. Kameshwar Mama doing a research on a verse written by Bhagavan himself, proving his own state of being as Muruga. He says the 6 faces it represents the 5 faces of Shiva and the 1 face of Parvati. So the Subramanya is a union of Shiva, the 5-faced Shiva and Parvati, and that's why he has the 6 faces. He is the combination, the union of Shiva and Parvati. And when he was born out of this spark was taken by the Ganga and it was dropped at the Sharavana garden. And each of these 6 sparks became 6 babies. And these 6 babies wanted to be loved and taken care by the 6 Kritika nakshatras. So they all came down and they all became mothers to this light. And they started taking care of the 6 babies which were born. And Shiva brought Parvati down to the place where Kartikeya was growing. And Parvati to embrace all the 6 children together at once. And at that moment, the 6 bodies became one body with 6 faces and 12 hands. And so that she could place that Kartikeya on her lap and enjoy the love of Kartikeya and show her love and feed him with her Kanyamrita. This is the story. But Ramana, he saw, when he came to Arunachala, he saw every woman as mother. So when he came to Arunachala and Ramana's mother, Alagammal, when she came to Arunachala, he didn't even call her mother because he used to say that every woman is mother to me. So the mother was deprived of this this beautiful thing of being called as Amma by her own son. And later it became natural when the mother ripened and understood that he is not only belongs to me, he is the child of the whole universe. When she understood this truth, then slowly he started to become natural, and then he started calling her Amma. But we see that every mother that fed Ramana were his mother. Maybe he left the mother's lap, Uma's lap, and came to Arunachala. But here the mother Uma manifested many mothers. She manifested as Alagammal, she manifested as Mudaliyar Pati, Nartaki Ratnamma, and Echammal, and many other women devotees who came and fed Bhagavan with the same love which Uma would have fed Subramanya. And he has only one face, but a devotee wanted to give little more to Ramana. We have a scene in Ramana Leela where the devotees, after singing Arunachala Aksharamale and begging for the alms, they come back to the Virupaksha cave and they say, "Oh Ramana, Bhagavan, because of your Arunachala Aksharamale, look, we have got so much of Bhiksha." And Ramana says, "Aha, such a joyous occasion. Aksharamale is feeding all of us. Aksharamale is also Amma Parvati, who is feeding all of us. Come, let us all share the food and eat it equally," says Bhagavan Ramana. And the devotee says, "Bhagavan, we have got only one mango. So why don't you eat this mango by yourself?" says the devotees. And Ramana becomes a little stern and says, "What? Don't you know that if I eat the mango all by myself, it is poison to me?" Then all the devotees they're trembling in fear. What is this? Bhagavan is saying this. And then Bhagavan cools down and says, "I am eating with so many mouths. I don't have one face and one mouth. I am every mouth that eats. I am every face that is there. Are you not satisfied by this?" says Bhagavan Ramana. And at that point, all the devotees understand the truth that Ramana is not this body that we see, that human body, mortal body that we see in front of us. He is the self which shines in everyone. That truth was revealed by Bhagavan Ramana. And to understand it completely and abide in that truth, Ramana is not holding this Shakti veil that he got from Uma, but he is holding the veil of the who am I inquiry. And he has given the Shakti veil to each one of us to inquire with the Shakti veil and destroy that Tarakasura, which is darkness and ignorance, and realize our own truth, which is Ramana, who is shining as a Subramanya in every heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of that self manifest as Ramana, we are meditating in this last part of the satsang on the Ramana Ashtottaram, composed by Vishwanatha Swami. And Vishwanatha Swami had begun by calling Ramana the Mahasena Mahomshena Jataha, the avatara of Subramanya. And with that underlying truth, he continues to dwell on other namas, and we are on the nama Shonachala Maho Leena Manasaya Namaha, Swarnahastakaya Namaha. Those are the two namas, the two names which we are meditating on. And Vishwanatha Swami had says that Bhagavan was completely immersed, his mind was completely immersed in Arunachala, Shonachala. In our scriptures, we hear that whatever we think of, that we become. Whatever we meditate upon, that we become. Whatever we associate with, that we become. Therefore, we are given ideal stories of the great ones. We are taught through the epics. We are taught of the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Leelas of Sri Krishna and Sri Rama, just as children nowadays are also taught. In the West, we had, when we were young also, we had Superman, and in the Archie comics, Archie would become superhero, and Betty also would become a super girl at some point. Jughead Jones would also become. They all had different names when they became heroes. So the idea of teaching children about heroes, different superheroes are there now. So many are there in today's generation. And there are even heroes which are animals or something like that has become a hero. So the idea is to say that when you meditate upon something which is heroic, then what happens? Somebody who is strong, when you meditate upon somebody who is strong, like say today's superhero may be Hulk. But why do we meditate on that? To imbibe the strength, the physical strength. So in our Puranas, we had Hanuman, for example, as a superhero who could cross the ocean. He could become as big as he liked. He could also become very tiny. His heroism was such that he could adapt himself, he could change, he could win, and he could understand, and he could submit sometimes. So like this, we have the meditations upon superheroes like Rama, Anjaneya, Sri Krishna, and all these are heroes we have meditated upon. So who is the superhero for Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi? When he was a young boy, the superhero for Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi was Arunachala, none other than Arunachala. His meditations were always, his mind was completely absorbed in Arunachala. Now, Arunachala is a kind of hero who does nothing at all. Shona Achala he just is still. If we go and look at Arunachala, he just is still, absolutely still, unmoving. Unlike all the other heroes, he doesn't seem to be doing anything. Bhagavan therefore says, but look at him. It looks as if he is Jada. But what is he actually? Bhagavan says, he may appear to be Jada, but he is full of consciousness, he is full of life. In fact, do you know who he is? Bhagavan says, he is a huge ocean. He's a huge ocean. Arul Niraivana Amudakadale. He's a huge ocean. And that ocean, Bhagavan says, he's an ocean which does not have any shore at all. It's an all-enveloping ocean. And what does the ocean do? The ocean doesn't do anything. The ocean doesn't grow bigger or smaller. Even when the vapor evaporates out of it, also actually the ocean remains. Ocean remains as ocean. Ocean doesn't suddenly become a river or a pond. When rain pours down on it also, it remains full. But ocean is the repository. It is the home. It is the home of so many living beings. Everything it contains, and it is the source of all life. Even physically, when we look at the ocean, it is the source of water. Without water, we can't live. So, it is the source of life. The ocean is the source of life. That is what is Arunachala. And Arunachala is that ocean which is Arul, which is grace, which is love, absolute love, pure love. Arul nirevana amudakadale. So when Bhagavan was meditating, when his mind was absorbed in Arunachala, Bhagavan's mind was absorbed in that extraordinary love, which has no beginning, no end, which includes everything and everyone in itself. Dr. Kalarani was saying that there is no Dvaita, there is no duality, there is no judgment at all. She sweetly pointed out to us the danger of judgment. And when one judges, then Bhagavan says, you are the one who is making a mistake, not the one who actually probably made the mistake, but the one who judges is the one who is making a mistake, because in my mind that judgment error has come. That error is appearing in my mind. Whether it's an error or not in God's scheme, we do not know. But I perceive it as an error. That way, Bhagavan never saw any error in anyone. He was the fullness of love. And Arunachala is also that light which has no beginning and no end. So Bhagavan is that light. He is that light. By becoming Leena Manasa in Arunachala, Bhagavan reveals himself as that light to everyone who turns to him. He is light. He is light. So he says, Viri Kadiral Yavam Vilangum. He is just actually swallowing everything in that light of knowledge. And Arunachala is Shiva Swarupa. Shiva means the one who is absolutely auspicious. The word Shiva means auspicious. The self is that which is ever auspicious. Mangala, Shiva, Shivam. So that is what Bhagavan is. He therefore was auspicious even in the manifestation, even in small things. If somebody wanted to make appalam, whatever they knew, whatever they wanted, they would go to him for that, to do some accounts or to make appalams or to start a project. They would go to Bhagavan and say, please touch this. Or to win a game, they would want him on their side. The team would want him on their side to be winning, because we think that winning, victory, Jaya is auspicious. It is indeed auspicious. But Bhagavan will tell us that there is only one Jaya, there is only one victory. All other victories are only relative. The real victory is to abide in the self, to win over the duality, to win over all divisions, to win over all sense of like and dislike, and become one with the self, become ever in peace, become one with Arunachala, become that same Shonachala Maholina Manasa which Bhagavan was and is at all times. That state Bhagavan is blessing us with. That is his Swarna Hasta. His Hasta, his golden hand, blesses everyone with that state. And in that process, that Mangala, that Swarna Hasta, who is Shiva himself, because Hiranya Bahu is Shiva. So Bhagavan, by meditating or becoming one with Arunachala Shiva, becomes verily Shiva, who is Hiranyabahu, who is Swarnahasta, and everything is touched by him. By being the all-enveloping one, he includes every aspect. So he has touched everything in his life. He has touched everything so that whatever we do is fruitful. Whatever we do will take us to the ultimate fruition. So in the coming week, let us see how Bhagavan with his golden hands has blessed every endeavor of ours, has blessed all that we do, and has taken it naturally, takes it to its culmination in Atma Vichara and Atma Nishtha. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. In the last part of the satsang, we have the concluding section with verses from Aksharamana Malai by Radha and Vallabh, and the Ashtotra Puja at the altar of Dilip Simha. It will be chanted by Vaibhavji, Prarthana, and Revathi Shankar.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. தேடாதுற்றன திருவருளிதியகத்தியகம் தீர்த்தருளருணாச்சலா தைரியமோடு முன்மெய்யகம் நாடயம் தட்டழிந்தேனருளருணாச்சலாம் தொட்டருட்கைமை கட்டிடாயெனிலிய நட்டமாவேனருளருணாச்சலாம் தோடமில் நீயகத்தோடொன்றி என்றும் சந்தோடம் ஒன்றிட அருளருணாச்சலாம் நகைக்கிடவில்லை நின் நாடியாயனை அருள் நகையிட்டு பாணி அருணாச்சலாம் நானிலை நாடிட நானாயொன்றினி தாணுவானின்றனை அருணாச்சலாம் நின்னெறி எரித்தென்னை நீடாக்கிரும் நின்னருள் மழை பொழி அருணாச்சலாம் நீனானர புலி நிதங்களி மயமா நின்றிட நிலையருள் அருணாச்சலாம் நுண்ணுரு உன்னையான் விண்ணுரு நன்னிட எண்ணலையிருமென்றருணாச்சலாம் நூலறிவறியா பேதையன் என்றன் மாலறி வருத்தருளருணாச்சலாம் நெக்கு நெக்குருகியான் புக்கிட உன்னை புகழ் நக்கலான் நின்றனை அருணாச்சலாம் நேசமில் எனக்குன்னாசையை காட்டி நீ மோசம் செய்யாதருள் அருணாச்சலாம் அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலாம் 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 அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலாம் அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலாம் அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி அக்ஷரமண மாலை வாழி.
नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योमि मात्रं भुवनं समस्तं भुवाहितं तं रमणं रवीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्वितावताराय नमः। ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः षोडशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ कुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूडिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातीताय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिधाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः।
ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ मितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलहृद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः ॐ सौम्याय नमः ॐ आत्मवते नमः ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः ॐ महाभागाय नमः ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः ॐ विनताय नमः ॐ विनुताय नमः ॐ विप्राय नमः ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः ॐ दर्शनादघसंहारिणे नमः ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः ॐ हृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः ॐ स्मरणात् बन्धमोचकाय नमः ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्ट्रे नमः ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः ॐ गुहाय नमः ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः ॐ भवरोगभिषग्वराय नमः ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः ॐ देवतमाय नमः ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः ॐ सेनान्ये नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणभगवते नमः श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याचनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानन्दपुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡುತ್ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಘಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय।
जय